Welcome back. This is part 3 of my lightsaber buying guide. I know that it's gotten a little bit complicated and it's about to get more so. If you haven't seen the other 2 parts, there will be links in the description to this video. The last 2 parts dealt with canon versus non-canon sabers, the general features of lightsabers, different types of installations, and the customizability of lightsabers. This time we're going to hit the big questions of aesthetics, cost, and function. Now, these questions are the most important ones, but when you weigh them, you got to take into consideration the other things from the previous videos. By the end of this one, it's my hope that you'll be equipped to figure out, especially if you're new to this market, which saber might be right for you. Now I want to turn to what I consider to be one of the largest questions or most important questions when it comes to which lightsaber to choose, and that's general hilt aesthetics. All right, so there is no good answer to this, but you just have to ask yourself, what do I like? All right, you have plenty of options because there's a lot of things out there. Like there's this Vader's Vault Tempest. The hilt is very small and sleek. All right, or you can go with something that's big and imposing. All right, the sword version that I showed you earlier was like that. We can go with something that's in-universe, like this dark saber from Store, or we can go with something that's interpretive, like this dark sai from Kaizen sabers. That's the same thing, but etched up. All right, so we can go with in-universe, we can go with interpretive, we can go with off-brand. This is a wood version here. Or we can stick with more traditional or metal. We also have the option of an ornate hilt with etching, perhaps, like this one. We can go with ornate, or we can go with plain. All right? Or you can go with something that's big workhorse. Or you can go with something entirely off-brand like this contact flow saber. I'll talk about this when we get to function in a little bit. But in terms of general hilt aesthetics, it's the most important question, but it's the one that nobody else can answer for you. What do you like? Do you like something that's small and sleek? Do you like something that's big and imposing? Do you want it to be ornate? Do you want it to be plain? Do you want it to be shiny? Do you want it to be gold? Do you want it to be silver? Do you want it to be red? Do you want it to be plastic? Should it have a grip? How about leather? How about a leather grip of some kind, or etching? All right. These are questions that you just have to ask yourself. What do I like? Find a saber that offers you the look that you like, and you'll find that in most situations, either that manufacturer makes an installation that'll work for you, or you can get it empty and have somebody else make the saber have the internals that you want it to have. You might be able to do it yourself, but the most important thing is the aesthetic, or one of the most important things is the aesthetics of the hilt, because one of the biggest parts is it needs to look like you want it to look. All right, so that part, really difficult for anybody else to answer for you. But if you look around on the market, you just look up Google images of lightsabers, look for general aesthetics, you'll find something that speaks to you, and then go from there. One of the other most important questions, and I've talked around this one a fair bit to this point, but one of the other most important questions is cost or budget. Lightsabers are a varied market, and you can find a lot of variety within that. For instance, especially in terms of price. Something from LGT, like this LGT Revan, for an empty hilt, it's going to cost you about $60. You can then get an installation for it for also about $60. So you can get a buy-in to a sound saber for about $120. Okay, something like this Ultra Sabers Initiate right here. This whole saber with a light up stunt setup, this whole thing was about $50. So getting a lightsaber for less than $50 is not really possible unless you find something secondhand where somebody really doesn't quite know what they have. But it starts at around $50, and it goes up to thousands and thousands of dollars for those individual works of art with the metal internals and the crystals in them and everything like that. So what's your budget? And be realistic. You can get a stunt saber for around $50. You can get a sound saber for around $100. you can get a better, more premium sound saber for around 2 to 300. When you get up above 2 to 300, then you're looking at more artisan sabers. Things like Vader's Vault, they are limited runs, they're hard to get a hold of, they're very sought after. They're going to cost you more, usually in the $500 to $700 range. Short runs on sabers that are limited production on the web from small makers, you want to be careful of those because you can get burned. But if it's somebody who's made a lot of runs of sabers and they've all actually gone through, and you get in on one of those, you might have one of 100 hilts that look like this. And you're generally going to pay a little bit more for that. Good functional sabers, like this one, $300 or $400 for something that I can take out, throw around, drop a whole bunch, and not have to worry about. So there's a lot of price discrepancy in there, but figure out, what's my budget? If I'm looking for a saber with sound and my budget's $300 to $400, functional sabers with sound can be obtained within that range fairly easily. If I'm looking for a premium saber with all the bells and whistles and my budget is $300 to $400, you're probably not going to find it. If I'm looking for premium sound and my budget's $100, you're probably not going to find it, but you can get pretty close. So where's my budget? Adjust your expectations realistically, but realize that there is a broad spectrum from about 50 up to about 5,000. And you can find sabers anywhere in there. Look for what realistically is within your price range, and you're going to be better off. Now, the last question that I wanted to deal with is the function of the saber. And for me, this is the most important. Cost, hilt aesthetics, and function are all very important, but function really determines what sort of arena you're looking for, or what sort of arena you're looking in when you look for your saber. Now, there are basic functions that we can look at with a saber. The first of them is shelf queen. Now, a shelf queen is basically a saber whose job is to look pretty. Shelf queen sabers are often going to have etches on them. All right, like for instance, this Northwind saber right here. Okay, it's fancy, it's etched. It's got external lights and all the bells and whistles, leather grips, vanity blade, all kinds of things. This saber right here, I wouldn't want to take out and toss around. For one, this blade would break. For two, the saber's finish would get dinged up, and I'd see the bright metal through this sort of aged and weathered etch that's on this. So a shelf queen's job is to look pretty. And if that's what you're looking for in a saber, look for the prettiest saber, focus on hilt aesthetics, and that's going to be where you go. If you want to go for classy electronics, you can focus on installation as well. But hilt aesthetics and installation are the most important thing for shelf queens. All right, the next level of use that we have is costume. Costume sabers don't have to be durable. But canon versus non-canon, are you doing a canon costume? Are you doing a crossover or a mashup? And hilt aesthetics are the most important part of a costume piece. So if that's your thing, you're looking at cost, you're looking at hilt aesthetics, you're looking at canon, non-canon. Are you looking for a black blade saber? Or are you looking for a mashup crossover black blade saber? Are you looking for a Kylo Ren? Or are you looking for something like that Zweihander I showed you earlier that could be a Kylo Ren Jon Snow crossover? I guess that would be Ben Snowlow would be a good way to put that. So costume pieces, it's all about aesthetic, it's about price, and it's about canon versus non-canon. Something that's easily recognizable as a Revan, as opposed to something that's still a Revan, but a little bit harder to recognize as one. Right, so we've got shelf queens or display sabers, we've got costume pieces, then we've got spinning or tricking sabers. If spinning or tricking is what you're looking for, you want a sleek design. You want something with no frills. You also want something that's super durable, and you want something that's fairly cheap. This right here is a Poxtor Shiva. These are kind of hard to come by, but it's got a rubber button down here like a flashlight. Light comes on, blade goes in. The internals in this thing look like a mag light, so it's super durable. But spinning or tricking, you want it generally lightweighted. Sometimes you want something that's counterbalanced, so that it's weighted appropriately so that you can toss it around. I've got some that I tie ropes to and throw. But spinning and tricking, you want cheap, you want no frills, you want sleek design. All right, the next level is dueling. Now, dueling sabers, what we want in that is we want durability. What we want in that is basically durability. So if you're looking for a shelf queen, look in the custom market. If you're looking for a costume piece, look for people who produce replicas. Look in the mass market. If you're looking for a spinning or tricking one, look in the basic or budget market. If you're looking for a dueling saber, look in either the budget market or the high-end, specifically dueling saber market. You'll find things like this Bendu Armory saber right here. Now this thing is designed to take a beating. It's carbon fiber. It's designed to be put through the paces. Even their NeoPixel blades, while I wouldn't personally duel with a NeoPixel blade, their basic NeoPixel blades are actually warranted for dueling. So look for somebody whose emphasis is on hardy, but realize that that's going to come at the expense of some of the frills. You're not going to find fancy crystal chambers and internal metal bits in a dueling saber because they'd fall apart the first few times it made contact. So you're looking for durability, you're looking for cost, and you're looking for design and you're looking for installation on one of those. All right, then we've got, at the end, high-end performance sabers. Now, high-end performance sabers are a lot like the tricking sabers, except they're designed for something specific. All right, for instance, this contact saber right here. Okay, this doesn't look like a lightsaber. It's going to fail a lot of hilt aesthetics, but in terms of form and function and installation, it is exactly what it needs to be for the type of tricks that it's designed to do. Okay, think about high-end performance sabers like being the sabers that are in a golf bag. You have a specific thing that you're trying to do. You reach for a specific golf iron in order to do that thing, in order to make that shot. Okay, I'm trying for contact moves, I reach for this. I'm trying for flips and tricks, I reach for this. So think about sabers like that. There is no perfect saber, but what do you want it to do? Start with function. What am I going to do with this thing? Then move on to cost. What can I afford? Then move on to general hilt aesthetics. What sorts of things interest me? And then you can fine-tune it with those other things. What sort of features am I after? What sort of installation am I looking for? Do I want it canon, non-canon? But it all starts with that, what do you want to do with it? And if you go through a lot of these things and put some thought into it, as opposed to just which thing speaks to me right now, put the thought into it, do the research, look at what's out there, consider all these elements, and I'm pretty confident you guys are going to find yourselves the right saber for you. All right, so just a little bit of wrap up on how to put all this together and use it. Weighing all the options, you got to figure out, okay, what do I want to do with it? How much do I have to spend? And what do I want it to do? So for instance, let's say that you wanted a dueling lightsaber, but your budget was low in the $50 range. Okay, that puts you in line, or that puts the best thing for you as something like a Pox or Shiva. All right, let's say that you have a little bit more money and you'd like more features, but dueling is still your main focus. All right, then durability and features, you're looking at a Bendu Armory saber. All right, let's say then that you decide, well, I want a dueling saber, but I want it to be a crossguard. Let's say that features weren't as important to you and you were looking to spend less money, then an Ultra Saber's Flamberge is probably your best bet. All right, so let's say that you have more money to spend, you're looking for more features, you're looking for a little bit more durability and better construction. Okay, then you end up with something like a Vader's Vault Vanquish. Let's say that instead your goal is to costume. Then we're looking for something like a Hasbro or Black Series hilt. Let's say, though, that we want a costume, but we'd still like it to be a little bit more durable and better made, and maybe have a few more features, but we'd still like to keep it on a budget. That puts you into like an LGT hilt. All right, let's say that you've got unlimited budget and you're looking for something like a work of art. Then you're looking for a custom installed, like a Corbanth or something like that with a crystal chamber. All right, so there is no perfect saber. There's a lot of different perfect sabers that are good for various things, depending on what you like, what you want to do with it, and what you want it to do for you. Hopefully this has been of use to you. If it has, join me back and I'll discuss other things. And thank you guys so much for making the entire ride to get here.